Good morning, everyone. Welcome to this date on this last Friday of June, and we've got the June gloom going on. I'll tell you all about the weather in just a moment. On our show today, Don Tibbetts is here from United, and he's going to give us an update on several things, the handyman program, MNC, and a few other things as well. Also, we have Dan Oweiler here from Sterling Financial Advisors, and he's going to talk about a mistake that can be made with your IRA that could affect your kids. You don't want that to happen. And then we have Mark Mona here today with the El Toro Water District. He's going to tell us about some new water restrictions that are going to come into play over the next few years. Not like tomorrow, but a new bill was signed by the governor that's going to take effect kind of in steps over the next, really over the next 10 years. So we'll find out about that. As far as meetings, there are no meetings until Monday, so let's get to the weather. June gloom still in effect, and things are going to just remain the same over the next several days. You probably saw yesterday things were a little bit cooler, and same thing today. We're going to stay kind of in the mid-70s for the next couple days or so. As we move up into next week, we'll build that up slowly, and it looks like, although I only have till Tuesday there, 78 degrees, we should see things kind of really kind of pop up on the 4th of July to probably the low 80s. So between Tuesday and Wednesday, Wednesday being the 4th of July, we could see a difference of maybe about 5 degrees, and then we'll be in probably the mid 80s starting next week, midweek for a few days. But over the next several days, we're just staying in this kind of mild weather where we get the June gloom morning, and then gives way to a beautiful day and afternoon, as you saw. Then in the evening, around 7 o'clock or so, we start to see those clouds coming in. But I'm thinking maybe on 4th of July, we may have less of that. So we'll see. That would be nice. Let's look around the state, and just beautiful everywhere. Look up there on the north coast. They're going to be about 69, 70 degrees. The Bay Area, when I give the temperature of the Bay Area, I usually give it for the peninsula because temperatures can range up there quite a bit, just depending where you go. But 80 degrees in June for the peninsula of the Bay Area there, that is of course around where San Francisco Airport is and all, that's high for them. That's a warm day. I think San Francisco is going to be around in the mid 70s to upper 70s today, which is very warm for them this time of the year. Central Coast 77, and same with San Diego. Lake Tahoe looking good. Look at Yosemite, both of those areas, South Lake Tahoe and Yosemite, in the low to mid 80s. Even Yosemite only going down to about 60 overnight. Beautiful weather up there. And locally here, 72 around Lake Arrowhead, and Palm Springs holding steady in the hundreds, in the low hundreds. So they're about 105. They dropped by about 3-4 degrees today. So absolutely beautiful weather anywhere you go in the state. We have that low pressure trough that's kind of moving down our coast, but it's not real strong. That's why we're getting a little bit more of this marine layer. All right, we'll be back in just a moment.
Hi, I'm Brian Rott, President and CEO of Cart Mart here in Laguna Woods. My family's been in the golf cart business since 1959, and we win our customers over with the simple belief of we treat you right. We are proud to be the authorized dealer for Club Cart here in Orange County and your go-to source for the sales and service to other major brands. We're conveniently located on El Toro Road, just minutes from Laguna Woods. So come by and see for yourself, while when doing business with Cart Mart, there's no reason to go anywhere else.
Hi, I'm John Bowser Bauman. You probably know me best as Bowser from Sha-Na-Na, but I'm also president of Social Security Works PAC. And you know, when I'm in Laguna Woods, I always watch Village Television. Grease for peace.
Achieve a level of comfort you've never known before. The Daydreamer will take you through smooth movements and guide you effortlessly into your favorite positions. Adjust the power pillow for ideal support for your head and neck. This and our positioning technology allows for infinite relaxation. Lay back in zero gravity while watching TV and put your body and mind at ease. Lift your spirits and find your favorite daydream. Contact your local Golden retailer today.
The El Toro Water District Phase 2 Recycled Water Expansion Project has installed over 21,000 feet of recycled water pipelines and is now over 75% complete. The final pipeline installations, as well as installations of service lines and final paving, should be complete by July. The connections of the individual irrigation systems to the new recycled water pipelines should be complete by the end of the year. The district sincerely appreciates your patience as we enhance the water supply resources in the Laguna Woods area.
And with me right now from the United Board is Don Tibbetts. Don, welcome.
Thank you, Ken.
Pleasure to have you here today.
My pleasure.
You know, I was wondering, or was kind of thinking back, you've been on the boards about 10 years or so?
17.
17? Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
yeah.
I know it's been a long
Yeah,
time.
1 year off in between.
Yeah, well, good to have you here today.
My pleasure.
So
I
you
enjoy it.
you kind of know the community pretty well. I'd
Kinda,
say. Yes. Today we're talking about several things, and the first one is the Water District project, and we just saw a spot about the recycle project that they're doing in the area.
Yeah, we're busy.
Yes.
We had a report from the South Coast Water District.
Right.
They need to replace some valves that were put in 57 years ago.
Wow.
Before, at that time, it was Leisure World. They gained an easement to put some valves in, but I was thinking coming down here this morning, what is South Coast Water District doing here? Because we're with the El Toro Water District. And I was talking to Ernesto this morning because I was curious.
Right.
And he said they're all correlated, all
Right.
the water districts.
Right.
And valves, the valves that I'm talking about are the ones that are older, been in there for all these years, and then some need replacing, some need repair, some will be taken out, and so we gave them authorization to go ahead and do it. It won't start until December.
Okay.
And it will affect the area. It's called Area 911 or Building 911, and that's located by Aliso Creek.
Okay.
And the people that will be affected will get plenty of notice. And
right.
That's about it.
Now we move on to the electrical wall panel covers, right?
Okay, that's a small item. It won't cost any additional money to the residents, but we've always put in these kind of drab olive color wall plates on, on these new light fixtures, and some residents wanted a choice of colors.
Okay.
So we talked to Ernesto about it, and he said, not a big problem. We're going to order different colors of white, even black, different colors. And when they get the new fixtures for the light panels, the sockets, they will get a choice of colors. That's all it is.
Okay.
It's not a big deal, but I wanted residents to be aware of it.
Okay. All right, very good. All right, the handyman program, how's that?
Oh, that's going great. We have 106 people signed up as of last week. I've heard nothing but positive things on it. My next door neighbor has used them 2 weeks in a row. They do all kinds of handyman stuff that people can't do or don't want to do by themselves. And it's,
I've heard it's just been a really great program.
It really is, and we have others signing up. I noticed, I asked about it this morning, and we will repair or work on anything that United doesn't do. And one lady I know had a mattress turned around, small as that, and she had some ceiling lights put in that she couldn't reach, and it's just a handyman service. It's $200 a year, which is really quite reasonable. You could spend that on one call with outside service. And
and you have, do you know how many people you have signed up?
164.
Wow. Okay. Very good.
And it'll grow.
Yeah.
And the people who have come out they know what they're doing. They can go right to the work, and they'll do 2 or 3 jobs at one time until it's caught up.
Yeah.
Very pleasant.
Very good. Okay, moving on. This is always a big topic here, energy, and you're going to give us an update on that. And I know you and the other boards are all working together on this.
Yes, we approved this 2 months ago, or maybe last month, and we met and approved it again. We approved the funding of it. Okay. It's going to cost $50,000 that we'll be putting in the contingency fund, and they'll be used as needed. And the handyman service, for example, now we have a lot of requests for walkway lighting, additional walkway lighting, and the energy consultant can check it out and tell us if it's cost effective to put it where it's requested. That's one item.
Yeah.
And as you say, we do work with GRF and Third. We're all working together on that one.
Okay, very good. And then finally, the budget preparation.
Okay, that's
an update for.
Yeah, we're right in the middle of that right now. M&C spends the most money. I think our budget is about $12 million, our portion of it. And people don't realize that it covers the roofs of all the buildings, covers the painting of all of them. We're going to probably go to a 10-year cycle instead of an 8, and that will reduce the cost on that a little bit. And all of the upkeep, it's expensive. We want input from residents. We get most of the input we get, they said, well, cut the budget, we're paying too much. And you ask them, well, you cut the budget, it's going to cut services. Where do you want us to cut it? And we don't get very many specific requests on that. But if residents really have an idea of where we can cut and save some money, let us know. We'll look at it.
Okay.
And if it's cost effective, we'll do it.
All right. Very good. Anything else you'd like to talk about?
No, that's all. It's kind of short this week.
All right. Well, very good. I appreciate you coming in and giving us an update. Lots of things going on. And if you're in United, check up on that handyman. That whole project, that program is just helping a lot of people.
It's
and
a good
I know
deal.
you're going to have a lot more signing up for it.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah. Good to see you, Don.
My pleasure, Tim.
Take care.
Thank you.
We'll be right back.
Do you hear but not understand? I have good news for you. A proprietary system for verifying hearing correction, Verified Best Speech Clarity, is now available through the All-American Hearing Network. This means hearing improvement can now be verified and documented. Your individual hearing correction is guaranteed in writing. Call today to reserve your complimentary private consultation and experience word clarity dialed back into focus on the spot. Try AMP, the world's smallest hearing aid at an unbelievably small price, just $750. It's ready to go in one visit, comfortable to wear, and virtually invisible when worn. Yes, you can now have Verified Best Speech Clarity. Hear every word. Call today to reserve your complimentary private consultation and experience word clarity dialed back into focus on the spot, risk-free.
My name is Angela. I'm 51 years old and I was diagnosed with a heart murmur. Before the surgery, I was struggling to breathe. I was missing out a lot on playing with my son. I decided to go to Hoag from Nevada to have my mitral valve repair because the surgeons there are excellent.
My personal approach to patient care is really taking care of a patient as if they were a member of my family.
After the surgery, I can chase him and run around and play with him as much as he wants. It's like a miracle. It's like this patient made it through the toughest time in their life, and it's an awesome feeling.
The feeling to see these patients recover, especially when they're critically ill like that, it's just the best feeling in the world.
We wanted this to be one of the top cardiovascular centers in the region, the state, the nation, and to be recognized for that. We've achieved that.
If I had to go back and make the same choice, I would choose Hoag again. They treated me like family. This changed my life, and now I get to be with my son.
I've been working with retirees since 1984. I specialize in protecting people's money, setting up a secure retirement income stream for them, and making sure their money is there when they need it. I started Sterling Financial Advisors under the premise that we not only needed quality service for clients out there in the financial industry, but ethical standards as well. We don't have any monopoly on the investments we use. What we do have a monopoly on is the integrity and how we treat our clients.
And Dan Ellweiler was with me today from Sterling Financial Advisors. And Dan, nice to have you here.
How are you, Ken? Good to see you.
Very good. Now, we're talking about a mistake that if you make this mistake, it could actually cause your children's inheritance. It
cause
could be
problems with the kids.
Problems. And this has to do with IRA. And you and I have talked
any type of
before.
retirement account. It's
Yeah.
just not IRAs, 401ks, 403bs, any type of retirement plan where the beneficiaries aren't listed correctly or kept up to date, so to speak.
Yeah, and how can that affect it? In other words, if you don't have the correct beneficiaries on there and you pass away, how is that handled, and how can that be?
Well,
very
unfortunately, in
detrimental?
the example that I sent you, this was a gentleman who either had been told to by a bank or a stockbroker or something, he put down for his beneficiary to be distributed according to my last will and testament.
Yeah.
So they said, well, just to make it safe, just distribute it according to your last will and testament.
Yeah.
Well, he figured because his daughters were, his children, his grown children were in his last will and testament, everything would be okay. Unfortunately, it has to go to probate.
Yeah.
And when it goes to probate, the judge kind of determines who gets what, okay? And unfortunately, in this situation, rather than it going to the 4 children, it ended up going to his wife, who he had married 2 months prior to that.
Oh,
so
yes.
It was a second marriage.
Yeah.
And the judge determined, well, because because you have a spouse, it ends up going to the spouse rather than the children who he wanted to go to.
So the last will and testament, that wasn't considered a legal document, or why?
It's considered a legal document, but they didn't name individuals in the beneficiary form. They just named a document rather than the individuals.
Okay.
The same thing goes with trust. A lot of people feel like, well, if I leave my IRA to the trust and the trust dictates where it all goes, which is fine, but unfortunately it eliminates some tax planning opportunities for your heirs in regards to stretching out that IRA or those funds and not having to pay taxes on all of them currently.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
And so retirement accounts are much different than your standard brokerage account or mutual fund or bank account. Those all can be in your trust.
Yeah.
But beneficiaries should be named on your retirement account so they have this opportunity to stretch these funds out rather than having
taking a lump sum.
And having to pay taxes on that currently. And the key to it is making sure your beneficiaries are up to date, and current. Because many times parents will say, well, I have 3 grandkids, I have $300,000 in my IRA, I'll give $100,000 to each grandkid. Well, 3 years later, they have 2 more grandkids and they haven't updated their...
That's a good point, yeah.
They haven't updated their will, and I don't know that 16-year-old Johnny is going to share it with his 3-year-old sister.
Right.
And so you want to keep those beneficiary things up to date, especially in regards to divorces or marriages and things like that.
Yeah.
So it becomes critical as you're doing your estate planning documents and things along that line to not necessarily lump all, because sometimes estate planning attorneys saying you want to put everything into the trust. They have this funnel vision of that everything should go into the trust, and beneficiaries on retirement accounts shouldn't be a trust. It should be named as individuals.
Okay, so this is a situation where, you know, there's that old saying, sometimes less and more is more. Here is more is more.
Right, right.
In other words, you cannot overplan.
No, you cannot. I mean, I sent you an example, but there's another example I have that it was a few years back. It actually came to the United States Supreme Court of a husband and wife who had been married for 35 years.
Yeah.
Decided to get a divorce, and she wanted half of his pension plan, and he wanted the pension plan to go to his daughter.
Okay.
The wife agreed to say, okay, if that's going to happen, I'll take stocks or the house or something to offset that. So she waived in the divorce decree. She signed, it was notarized and approved by the judge. It was waived, or she waived all rights to the pension plan. He didn't change the beneficiary form on his pension plan because they had that waiver in hand.
Yeah.
He died a couple years later, and his ex-wife was mentioned on as the beneficiary. The pension plan wanted to pay it to the ex-wife. The daughter sued mom.
Oh, wow.
And they worked its way. Mom went around. The wife or the daughter appealed, and it worked its way to the Supreme Court.
That's incredible. Yeah.
Supreme Court ruled 8-0 that it should go to the wife because we don't know what the man had on his mind the day that he died.
Yeah.
Okay, even though he had that waiver in hand, he could have changed his mind somewhere along the line, and we have to go by what the beneficiary form says on the on the account. So the daughter ended up losing that whole pension plan.
Wow.
So, you know, planning for beneficiaries needs to be constant. We do what I call a beneficiary update every couple of years. Has there been any divorces? Has there been any marriages, any deaths in the family, new grandchildren that might affect? I just had one in the other day, a client, we were reviewing his beneficiaries, and he says, well, you know, my son's become an idiot, let's take him off, you know?
Yeah.
And so we ended up changing the beneficiary on his retirement account because the son had done something to offend the parents, and you know, so you want to keep those updated and current to make sure that this money goes to who you want it to go to.
And to tell you how important this is, what you sent me here is Americans, I don't know when this article was printed.
A while back, but
okay, so it's more than this. $6.5 trillion held in IRAs and nearly $6 trillion held in 401k type properties, so to speak.
Retirement accounts.
Yeah, retirement accounts, 403bs.
Right.
That's incredible.
Oh,
and if anything, it's more than that now.
Oh, it's more than that, probably.
This might have been an article from a few years ago.
Right, but the concept is what I wanted to talk about, but you're absolutely true. That there's trillions of dollars going to be transferred from the baby boomer generation to the next generation.
Yeah.
And if it's not done, in regards to retirement accounts, if it's not done correctly, you know, Uncle Sam might be getting more than he needs to get.
Yes.
Or somebody else might be getting it that you don't want to get.
Right.
And so
that's incredible. Yeah.
The other thing that comes into play is many times you leave it to children, and children start taking distributions or something and using it for community property, paying the rent, going on vacations, things like that.
Right.
Somewhere down the line, somebody in that marriage files for divorce, and the in-law can probably attack that retirement account because they were using it for community property purposes.
Right.
Inherited assets need to be kept separate if you don't want to have that included in a divorce.
Wow.
You know, I'm not an attorney, but I know enough to guide people to get things straight.
Yeah,
you know?
that's a good point. That so what you're saying is if one spouse
inherits an IRA,
a whole bunch of whatever it might be from their mom or dad, they can set it up if they want to as whatever happens between me and my wife, this stays with me.
Right. As long as they keep
Which may start the process of something that may happen between
as long as they keep it separate, you know. separate account or something like that. But if you start using all that money, you know, you're spending down that money for community property purposes, they can technically challenge that in a divorce case, but because these assets were being used for community property
well, that
reasons.
shows you how this important
But
this is.
you want to make sure that your beneficiaries, especially on retirement accounts, a lot of people just feel like they can make their trust the beneficiary and then the trust will take care of everything. Well, you can do that, but it eliminates some of the tax planning opportunities for the beneficiaries if they aren't named as individuals.
Right, and you know. I would imagine too, an example, about 3 years now, I guess, or so, when my stepfather passed away. My mom had already passed away, and his RIA was very small. He was he worked for the county up in the Bay Area, so you know, that's where a lot of his pension came from. I mean, it was tiny, you know, $2,000 or $3,000 a person. Right. So I think I think that was separate though, because I seem to recall there was the trust, and then that came like a couple months later. Right. But so even that, I think the way he had set it up, I think he set it up for my sister. Sure. That was her dad. Sure. And then, you know, she was kind enough to say, you know, I'm going to distribute this however. Sure. So, you know, they have their trust attorney take care of that. Sure. But, you know, but that was a small amount.
Yeah.
When you really look at it.
It's if it's a small amount, it's not going to impact you one way or another. But sometimes you're dealing with hundreds of thousands of dollars in these types of accounts, and you want to make sure that the money goes to who you want it to go through in the manner in which you want it to go to. You know, and if you leave it to the trust, that eliminates some of that. Again, you can do that, but it eliminates some of the tax planning opportunities for beneficiaries to stretch those funds out and take required distributions versus a lump sum having to pay back.
Quick question on that. Yeah. Let's just say hypothetically it's $100,000, just to use a round number, and the final parent passes away, it gets passed on to the kid who's maybe in their 40s. And let's say he did set it up that way, the proper way. What's the amount that child, 40-year-old,
has
to take it first? Can they take it all in lump sum? Do they have to?
They don't have to stretch it out. They can take it as a lump sum if they did decide to, but they would have to claim $100,000 of ordinary income on their taxes if they do that, which is fine to do. Yeah. Or he has the option of taking required minimum distributions starting a year or by December 31st after the death. All right. Okay. And that formula is based upon life expectancy factors that are published by the IRS in publication 590. But we have that in our office, and for a 40-year-old, it's 43.6. I just happen to know that number because I use it in my seminar. Okay. So for a 40-year-old, it's 43.6. You would divide 43.6 into 100,000. Okay. So it's like, you know, $2,200 a month.
And that's the minimum. Of course, if they turn around 5 years later and say, we want the rest of it now, they could do that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Okay. I mean, it's totally up to the beneficiary of how they want to take that. Okay. And is it dependent on, let's say perhaps the parent died sooner than later, before they even started taking distribution? Does that have an effect? Doesn't impact that at all. The only where that impacts is when you have a husband or wife pass away first. The spouse who isn't age 70 can defer that till age 70. Once it goes to the children, all bets are off. You know, it's kind of like a chessboard. You know, the two most important people are kings and queens. Right. That's the way it is with retirement accounts. Okay. Husband and wife or spouses, whoever it might be, you know, legal spouse, have the option of either taking distributions or deferring it till age 70. Okay. So there's some planning opportunities there.
All right, very good. And this, of course, is something that Dan and the folks at Sterling Financial can help you with, is kind of seeing where you are and helping plan out things for you. And if somebody wants to give you a call and just
we'll
start out and see if...
sit down for 45 minutes or so, kind of just, there's no cost or obligation. We just kind of see if we can help them at all, you know.
All right. Good to see you.
Good to see you.
Yeah, sterlingfa.com and 949-859-8900 up there in Mission Viejo by the Social Security office. Good people up there. Give them a call. All right.
Good to see you.
We'll see you.
All right.
Did you know there are over 400,000 seniors in Orange County today? So where does a senior or family caregiver go for information and resources? You can turn to the Answers Guide published by the Council on Aging Southern California. Answers is full of articles and resources to help you navigate the aging experience. You can pick up your free copy today at the clubhouse nearest you or at the Social Services office. The Council on Aging, helping seniors remain healthy, connected, and protected.
Looking for a change of scenery? You don't have to play golf to enjoy all that 19 Restaurant and Lounge has to offer. From a delicious breakfast menu to our delectable lunch and dinner specials. At 19 Restaurant and Lounge, there is something for everyone. Relax with your friends and family and take in the beautiful view from our spacious patio. Or enjoy a cocktail and appetizer in our lounge. 19 Restaurant and Lounge is a great place to socialize, enjoy a meal, or simply take in the view. Join us 7 days a week and experience Laguna Woods' exclusive dining experience.
Hey Laguna Woods, it's Ken.
And Lisa.
Did you miss an episode of This Day? Not to worry. Head over to youtube.com and search Village Television.
Here you can find each episode of This Day and other community programs such as Good Day OC, Discovering Laguna Woods, and much more.
Just click the red subscribe button, then click the bell to be emailed every time we upload a video.
Don't miss out.
And subscribe today.
You've trusted the doctors at Harvard Eye Associates with your eyes for the last 4 decades. Now it's time to trust us with your face. Our board-certified surgeons and aesthetic nurse offer the latest in facial aesthetic treatments, such as Botox, dermal fillers, laser skin rejuvenation, eyelid surgery, and face and neck lift surgery. Call us today to schedule your complimentary cosmetic consultation. 949-951-2020. Ask about our limited time savings on Botox and dermal fillers.
Welcome back, and today from El Toro Water District, we have Mark Mona here, and he is going to be talking about, as I alluded to, some new state regulations that are going to come into effect, and some of them are spread out over almost the next 10 years, right, or more.
Yeah, we've got to 22 or 23 on most of them.
So let's talk about this, and this is something that you have alluded to, as of other folks with the Water District, that somehow something's going to be implemented. So let's kind of go over these. And the first one the first slide we're going to look at is kind of going over the framework, right?
So it starts with indoor.
Yeah.
And so right now we're at 55 gallons per person per day. And in 2030, they want us to get more efficient, 52.5.
So that's where we're at right now.
We're at 55
Okay,
right now,
so that's, you know, I read this, you sent this to me, I got this yesterday, and I wasn't sure where we are currently. So 55 gallons per person per day, we are currently at.
Currently, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
so we're already, you know, used to that.
Yeah.
So,
now, how many, for a good example is, how do they determine that for a household? In other words, they don't call you up and go, how many people you got living here?
Well,
they kind of look at the number of bedrooms in the, in the
you
house.
Look at that, and you have a good estimation of
Yeah.
how many people are in the home, and then they also know the size of your lot outside. So it's all budgeting per property.
Now, although it wouldn't probably affect here, what if there's a family that they have 4 kids, there's 6 people living in the house, it's a 4-bedroom house, let's say, and unless the water, could someone call the water district that lives in other parts of outside of the community here and go, hey, you know what, I know you've budgeted this amount, by the way, we got 4 kids, there's 6 of us living here, not 4. Can they do that?
Well, I don't think that people should look this that we're going to turn into the water police.
Okay.
You know, it's a budget, and we know how each household is budgeted, and that's a framework. And then we will work. That's the key. Is we will work with each, customer and guide them.
That's a good
show
thing to know.
them show them how to get their outdoor and everything in line. So we're going to have more than enough education. That's why the state is giving us time to get ready for this.
And it's just like, some people may have they go outside to their backyard. It's just a big patio. Other people may be growing fruit trees and vegetables and all kinds of stuff.
Exactly.
So,
And some might use low volume toilets and other, so we're just helping people get used to their, lifestyle accordingly.
Okay, so we're looking here at the next slide about the implications, and it's going to be, has it been approved yet? I know this one says will be approved.
Yeah, it went through state SB 606 and AB 1668.
Okay, so that's already been approved.
Yeah.
And then now the water agencies, I know, I think you sent here that it actually provides the state water agencies a framework for setting their own kind of metering and targets, within parameters.
Correct.
But gives you a little more leeway.
Yeah, it gives us guidelines, but it allows us to work with our general area on helping them get to the point where the state wants to be.
Okay.
So it's things are different throughout the state regionally, so that's what they allow each district within guidelines to help their customers come up with something that works for them.
Okay, now as far as we see the third point up there, water agencies may be fined. Now tell us how that works, and what are they looking at, and then do you guys pass that fine down to the user?
That'll just come out of our coffers, and we don't want that to happen. But it's 1,000 in non-drought, and it's 10,000 if we're in a drought period.
Okay.
So it can be severe. So we definitely want to work. Yeah, that's why we want to work with our customers and make sure things are on our website. And we'll have many educational things. We just had a really good one on taking out landscape and putting in California friendly. And it was well done. This lady did a fantastic job. So look to our website for really educational things to be updated on a regular basis.
Okay, now you want to talk about this erroneous information about is it illegal to shower and wash clothes in the same day? Well, first of all, how would a water district even know that?
Well, it's a free country, right?
Yeah.
You can at least, so that was just erroneous, and it really just comes down to the budget.
Right.
And, not taking long showers and being efficient in the house. And then outdoor is the real thing that you can really help yourself in bringing down your water usage.
Yeah, that's true. And, depending on what you're growing, like I said, it's different in this community rather than single family homes.
Yeah.
But even here, they're looking towards bringing in more drought tolerant plants and trees and things like that. So, but communities large as this, you don't do that overnight.
It's really the grass that really sucks up the water. So if you can change your landscape plans a little bit, that'll help out a lot.
Yeah. All right. Very good. Now, I know that you folks have the wonderful demonstration garden, and people can go up there and see that. And that'll help people kind of see even for just around even their houseplants and things like that. Let's move on to new laws. These are the ones that we were talking about that can impact people. And, like we were just saying, you want to implement things, you want to do them fairly. There's no water police out there. But it's something that you're going to look at, especially if there's an area that is using a tremendous amount of water. First, you want to go, what's going on here?
Right. So, we'll most likely first put a door hanger on their door.
Yeah.
We'll reach out and then help educate them and get them to the budget or place that everybody wants to be. So, just lean on us for education. Look to us for things. Don't wait till the last minute.
Yeah.
And, we'll get there. Not a problem. Just be vigilant. The big thing that the governor wants is that we know that this is permanent and we're moving to certain things by 22, 23.
Yeah, all right, they're very good. Now, like I said, there's a lot of resources that are available for folks at the El Toro Water District website, and you can get all kinds of great information from there. You can always feel free to contact them if you have certain questions, and you can see all the different websites that are there, not only El Toro Water District, go see WaterSmart and Be Water Wise and home-water.org. It's just all kinds of different things that you can go to, and sort of the resources are there. And even resources about the plants and things like that.
Exactly.
Again, in this community, very few people have their vegetable gardens, but it's more about their patios. But beyond here, a lot of folks want to know, hey, what plants are going to work in our area?
So we'll provide you with, we have our CAG meeting every 3 months, and then we're going to have great classes that you can attend and look at, or go online and get updated.
All right, and finally, a sad note, but talking about a wonderful director that we knew well here, and this was Bill Kahn, of course, who just recently passed away.
Yeah, he's a good friend, a good director. I really loved his service to our country. He was a Navy veteran, and he'd really be missed. So thanks for letting us know about that.
Yeah, and of course he was on our program many times over the years, and he was been with the Water District for quite a long time.
Yeah, so 17 years, and Bill's a good man, and he'll be missed.
All right. Well, I hope his family is doing all right.
They're all doing well. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you.
Thank you very much.
And good to see you as always.
Great to see you too, Ken.
And again, many resources are out there for you, and even your plants around your patio, and what you can plant there, and what works, what doesn't, and even locally here. Not to give any certain plug for any one place, but Green Thumb Nursery, just right up the street, is a great resource. We've had somebody on from that program, from that nursery before, and what's really nice is local nurseries, whether it's them or the San Juan or whatever it might be, they're really in tune with the area.
Exactly. So we're giving you more than enough time, and there's a lot of ways to meet these budgets.
Yeah. All right, Mark.
Thank you very much.
Take care, sir. We'll be right back.
Hi, it's Desiree from Irvine Subaru, where families come first. As a family-ran dealership, your family's safety is our #1 priority. Come in and find the perfect Subaru from the largest selection of Subarus in Orange County. All models are top safety picks by the Insurance Institute of Highway Safety. We offer the ideal balance of safety, performance, and economy. Irvine Subaru, more Subarus, more safety, more performance, more love.
Trust the experts at Universal Carpet for all your flooring needs. Now get 50% off pet stain resistant and hyperallergenic carpet, porcelain tile, wood, laminate, and waterproof flooring, and complete kitchen and bath remodels. Plus get 5-year 0% financing, including free installation and free furniture removal. Our convenient showrooms are just minutes away in Irvine and Huntington Beach, or call 866-402-2747 for our free in-home shopping service. Universal Carpet, the low price leader for over 20 years.
Hiring a realtor you trust is the first step in selling your home. Selecting an escrow company that can safeguard your money and personal information throughout the transaction is the next step. Escrow Options will guarantee the safety of your personal information and funds from the risks of wire fraud and cyber theft. Choose the escrow company that works for you. Escrow Options Group, protecting consumer assets in escrow since 2005.
Hi everybody, I'm Sean Thomas. Sports Talk. Come join me here every Thursday morning at 11:30 a.m. for sports news, highlights, and interviews for all of Laguna Woods and around the world. Put it on your calendar. It's a great way to start your day with me and the Sports Talk way.
Okay.
Refresh your memory about these important disaster preparedness tips. Make a family emergency plan. Decide how you'll get in touch with each other, where you'll go, and what you'll do in an emergency. Build a disaster supply kit with enough water, food, and emergency supplies to last at least 3 days. It's important to have disaster supply kits for work, cars, and pets too. Find and fix items in your home that might hurt someone by moving, breaking, or falling during an earthquake. Know how to react safely when the ground shakes. If you're inside, stay there. Remember to drop, cover, and hold on. Drop down onto your hands and knees and cover your head and neck with your arms to protect yourself from falling objects. If you can move safely, crawl under a sturdy desk or table and hold on to one of the legs until the shaking stops. After an earthquake, help people who are hurt or trapped. Call 911 for emergencies only. Check your home for damage, including gas or water leaks, damaged wiring, or downed power lines. Protect your family and your home by making a plan, building a kit, and practicing disaster drills at least twice a year. Be sure to visit readyoc.org for more information on emergency preparedness and alertoc.com to sign up for emergency alerts and notifications. We want you to be prepared for a disaster just as much as you do.
Well, I'm here in front of this beautiful sycamore tree with Catherine Bryans. You are a trustee with the History Center. So tell me how the History Center and the wonderful Aliso Creek area and these wonderful trees kind of came together.
And the
guides, yes.
Well, first of all, it's a pleasure being in front of something that's older than I am. It's always a good thing. But I think the important thing is that we had a lot of people come into the History Center and ask us if there's any guide to any of the trees in the village. And we went, no, not that we're aware of. And it was so repetitive that we decided maybe this is something we should do.
Mm-hmm.
And fortunately, another trustee, Pat Wilkerson, is on our board, and she's an incredible photographer. She also was a photographer of the 50th anniversary.
Right.
So the big coffee table book that are still available. And so working with Jean, they identified the trees and came out here. They did all the walking, all the research, put it together. Pat put together prototypes, and then it was my job to go out and find some funding. So I spoke with then manager Lori Moss prior to her departure, and I said, this is what we're doing. Can you introduce me to some businesses that might be available to pay for the printing? History Center is a nonprofit organization, and we're independent of the Golden Rain Foundation or VMSI. And she looked at me and she said, we're going to do it. And I went, all right, there's going to be 3 sets. This is Aliso Creek. The next one coming out is Friendship Walk, which is closer to the History Center. And the third is going to be on the Serpentine Walk. So we are delighted as an organization within this community to be able to provide this information to the residents. That's what we do, and here it is.
Well, when you talk about history here in the village, I mean, I think there's nothing more precious than the trees that have been here, whether it's the sycamore that's over 400 and some odd years old, 465, or some of these trees that maybe were planted 20 years ago, 50 years ago. They are part of the living history here.
They are, and they were conceptualized and started by Ross Cortese. He loved his trees. And if you think about this area prior to this, we were the first property that was purchased from the Moulton Ranch. That was grazing land, and they grew beets, and there were no trees if you look at pictures. So when you sit around and look about the 35,000 trees or something that's in this village, it's amazing what he's able to do. And since then, the landscape department has continued. If they lose a tree, they replace it. Not necessarily, but he chose trees from all over the world.
Right.
And the Golden Rain was his favorite. Hence, we have the GRF board and the foundation. So it started at the beginning with him, with a vision for this community to be tree lined so people could walk and recreate and do that. And he really pulled it all together for us.
Yeah, and like you mentioned, this was one time just grazing land. People go up the freeway a little, they can still see some of the chaparral, and that's what it looked like.
Yeah. It's like the old days when I was driving from Pasadena, I could see the Matterhorn at Disneyland. That's not happening anymore. There's too much growing around it. But it's a wonderful place to work, and it's a wonderful place to be, and it thrills us at the History Center that folks have the opportunity to have something that we were able to help produce.
Well, thank you to all the volunteers at the History Center. What are your hours over there?
Monday through Friday from 10 to 2. We're there a little later on Thursday because we also have the docent tours come through on Thursday. And since it's an all-volunteer, not staff-driven, it's important for us to give our volunteers a break. So those are the hours, unless somebody wants to come in and fill in some extra hours for us, that would be great. And we are closed Saturday and Sunday, but we can also contact us if you need to get there in an hour that you can't during the day. Say if you're working, you really wanted to come in and talk about something, maybe your parents lived here or something, just to locate information.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
It was a pleasure coming out here today, and folks, once again, come on down here to the Aliso Creek Park area, take a nice stroll. You can pick up one of these brochures at many locations and walk through and check out all these beautiful trees. Just maybe if you hear something falling from the monkey puzzle tree, you might want to stand back. Walk away. All right. Thank you very much again.
It's never too late to improve your health with exercise. Challenge yourself to get moving in the morning. Hi, I'm Susan Tuttle. I'd like to encourage you to tune in to Channel 6 each weekday mornings at 7:55. 30 minutes of daily exercise will add years to your life. What are you waiting for? Come join me.
Friday is today, of course, because today is Friday. It's called 7852, Hitchcock's Shower Scene. This is a documentary. It's all done in black and white. Of course, the movie was black and white, and the entire documentary is done in black and white. And it goes over that famous shower scene in the movie Psycho. And they have a lot of folks comment on this. Janet, if you remember the movie, Janet Leigh was the woman that was in the shower, and the mother of Jamie Lee Curtis. So, of course, Jamie Lee Curtis is one of the commentators in this, as are some young directors, and they're all kind of watching it and talking about it. And I think there's some backstory with Alfred Hitchcock as well in this. Really good documentary. It is, like I said, it's all done in black and white, and interestingly, even the black and white, the new footage, meaning done with the interviews, is kind of shot in that kind of old style way, kind of that Alfred Hitchcock sort of way. It's really interesting. Now, I don't know why, or who the people that are involved in it. I think it's called 7852 because I think that was the scene and take number, and that's where that came from. This movie does not have any subtitles, so it's the same version at 2 o'clock as is 7 o'clock. Moving on to our Monday movie, it is Tomb Raider, and this came out earlier this year. Now, the other movie came out, I think about 10, 12 years ago. That was with Angelina Jolie. This is a new version of the movie, which, like the first one, is based on the video game Tomb Raider. And in this one, Lara Croft is, of course, the main character. The fiercely independent daughter of a missing adventurer must push herself beyond her limits when she discovers the island where her father disappeared. And it's sort of like an Indiana Jones type movie, although she's looking for her dad in this. Her dad was the one that was the archaeologist, but it's kind of in that same vein. You know, all these she finds all these different clues and puzzles and kind of gets trapped in a mine or something and starts to cave in, that sort of thing. Good movie, though, if you like action adventure. And I'm trying to, I think the original game came out in probably the 90s, or if I'm not mistaken. And that game, that was your mission, to help Laura Croft find all these different adventures, and the clues would take you further. In fact, I think it originally came out on a CD-ROM. That's how long ago that game came out. But that will be our Monday movie for you. And a couple reminders for you. The Summer Horse Show is going on tomorrow, Saturday, June 30th, at the Equestrian Center from 10 o'clock on and to about 11:30 or so. And they're going to have a great exhibition there. They're going to have folks out from the main attraction drill team from Norcal, the girls' junior drill team, and all kinds of food and fun, even a dog show. So come on out there and enjoy yourself. Bring your grandkids, and that will be at the Equestrian Center. That will be tomorrow. Starts at 10 o'clock, and just you can show up and have a wonderful time. And everybody seems to like that show. They do that once a year, and they do other shows throughout the year, but people love going over there and just having a great time. Now, 4th of July is coming up on Wednesday in Clubhouse 2, like they did last year, having their wonderful 4th of July event. And if you want to find out more about that, go to the recreation part of the website. The gates will open at 4 o'clock and the fireworks at 8:45. All kinds of fun, bounce houses for the kids and food and all kinds of things going on there. What's going on with us, the weather, and if you saw yesterday, kind of the same thing. We got that fog layer out there in the morning, but it burned off pretty quickly yesterday, gave way to a very nice day. And we're going to start to slowly warm up as we get into Monday and Tuesday. And I think 4th of July, we're going to be probably closer to about 82, 83 on that day. But not much change. Temperatures, couple 3 degrees here and there, and just the amount of marine layer that we get in the morning, and then the evening it starts to come in. The state is looking good everywhere in the state. Look at that, just beautiful weather throughout. All right, you have a wonderful weekend, and we'll see you here on Monday. Take care.